everybody, how's it going? I'm going to do a journey into the energies of August, see what we can learn, and have some fun together. I'm going to choose 3 doorways, all right? And hear me out on this, because we're going to go through, each doorway is going to be a pathway to wisdom. And we're not going to be judgmental, so we're going to do a doorway through chaos, okay? A doorway through love, and then a doorway through, this is very random for me, a tarot card, okay? I just got these, and this is called the Hermetic Tarot. I never do tarot cards, but I just got these for fun, and I will have to look up the meaning of the card, but I'm going to see it as a doorway. And we're going to go through that doorway and see what the card also wants to reveal to us, wisdom-wise, for August. So I'm going to chill. I'll have my eyes closed. And I'm going to be presented with a doorway for chaos. We're going to start there. Just so you know, there's nothing that can hurt you in the universe. Only you truly can hurt yourself. You can let people hurt you. I mean, life is really how bold can you go within and of yourself. And in the energy world, everything is equal. And nobody is more powerful or less powerful than anybody else. And we value each other for whatever we have to offer. And naturally, when I go into energy spaces, I feel sometimes disappointed or profoundly in awe of different souls. It's just the way that I react to their energy. But truly, we're just learning from one another. That's what we do. We just completely and utterly learn from one another. The good, the bad, the ugly. We learn, okay? So, hope you're having a good August so far. All right, I'm talking to the universe. I'm like, like these weird hand signs to the cosmos. And I'm kind of like, I'm pushing buttons as well. Don't ask me why. That's how this begins. And there's literally nothing in front of me except stars. It's kind of like light hand language. And my hands are moving very quickly. And I'm speaking to the universe without words. You ever try talking to God, and instead of telling God everything going on in your life, you just feel your message to God? Like if you were to define your day was really wonderful and you're so grateful, instead of describing it in words in your mind or inside of yourself, you would just feel about the gratitude, and then you would just send it without language. And so there's something of these hand gestures. I'm saying something without truly understanding what it is I'm saying. It's like a light language of the hands. And there's not a lot of feeling about it, but it's communication without language, I guess you could say. God reveals a door, and it's a cold door, actually. It's made out of stone, and the stone kind of, it's black on the inside. There's no actual handle, there's no actual door, it's just completely open. But around the edges, which it's rectangular shape, there are these kind of rounded bricks, and they're silvery gray color, okay? And they just kind of outline the frame of the door. But I can feel this sort of cold air blowing in to my world. And then I'm going to walk through this door, okay? And this represents the door of chaos and the wisdom that chaos would like to share with us for August. All right, I'm already through it. I didn't even know. I was like in motion to the door, and I'm like already through it. I'm on the other side, and everything is really, really blue. And it's blue, medium range blue. It's very blue everywhere. The sky glows with blue. The ground is blue. Everything is blue. And it seems like there's sort of like a black trees that are just, I don't know if they're shadow trees, but they're made out of black, and I can see kind of spiky sort of branches to everything, just random trees made out of black in the blue glowing surroundings. And I feel something asking me to be more than I know how to be right now. And it causes me to make a fist really tight. And I get angry about this. And I start having a conversation with God. And in life, you're going to have events that are going to cause you to make decisions that it's almost like violate your being. So if your being is to be completely kind and to never rock the boat ever, if you continue down that path, you will face an event where you will be required to rock the boat, and it will feel violating of your essence. That's just a single example. You may have moral beliefs, and there's no way on God's green earth you're ever going to violate those moral beliefs, but something is going to happen that is going to dumbfound you, and it is going to disgrace you, and you're going to have no choice but to violate your own moral beliefs, because this world will challenge the living daylights out of you. So I'm standing here and I'm saying, how dare you, God, present me with another scenario where I'm going to have to go out of my own character to be someone more than this. I want simplicity. I want gentleness. I want peace. And now I have to learn how to be bold and courageous and like a warrior or something. I don't want weapons. And God says, why don't you give this a try? Instead of reacting, why don't you just simply give this a try? And I have to, literally, this fist is like my heart, and then I have to relax my heart. And then I say, okay, we're talking about August here. This is our chaos doorway. This is our challenge, okay? Light can challenge us too. The love doorway can also challenge us. But let's see what comes next. I have to give in to something I can't understand. And it has to do of the heart. I'm just going to point out that in life, when you don't understand something, you're actually learning. So to face something you don't understand, you don't even have a hand or foothold on how to wrap your head around it, that's when you're learning, okay? So don't be afraid when you have to give in to something you can't understand. If you are presented with a knowing that you must open up on some level, then open up, okay? So what I do is I say, okay, I'm going to call it here, standing in the blue amongst these sort of shadow trees. And I say, okay, I am open. And a man appears before me. He's kind of odd that he has a white beard and he has a black and white checkered outfit. It kind of reminds me of this card deck in a way. This is black and white. He actually has like a golfer's little flat hat on his head. And he's maybe 5'6". His mouth is always open, like in a smile, like he's almost like waiting for me to say something, and his mouth is always open. His teeth are a bit up into his gums, because he has teeth above and below, but you don't really see it more than the lips. And then he's got a lot of white, and this is curled, by the way. His mustache is thick and it's curled here, and then it's got like this, I don't know, it's not particularly long, but it is this longer beard that's white. A little black and white checkered flat sort of golf hat, and then kind of a black and white checkered cloak that's really heavy, made out of fur. He says, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And he's like his mouth like, "You don't know who I am, do you?" Something about his mouth never closes. I'm gonna need a minute because I'm just evaluating here. Let me see if I know him or not. What I do to learned more is I do multiple things, and they may sound strange, but you can do whatever you want in the energy world. There are no inappropriate manners, so to speak. So sometimes I'll lick the person because for some reason that's like this clairgustance tells me more about them. I'll put my hand into their heart. I could smell them, you know. So you can gain information by doing all kinds of different things. So I'm just going to literally lick his outfit, okay? It gets fuzz on my tongue just like it would in real life. It just tastes like fur. But I'm going to wait for a minute. There's strange black ink in it. And the black ink is sort of alive and dancing now. And they make, I don't know, letters or musical notes. And they're kind of trying to go down into my throat. But I just ignore it. And then I touch his heart. His heart's made out of a very massive, like, crystal ball. And it glows with a sun on the inside. And I take that black off my tongue and then I put it inside of the crystal ball. They're like little musical notes or letters that have little arms and legs. It's kind of silly. Feel tired in my mind. I say, I can honestly tell you that nothing is coming to me, familiarity at this time about you. His mouth is still open. It's kind of like a toothless grin, but he has teeth in there. Something makes me very sad now. It reminds me immediately about... I was going to say the world, but I said the war. And I say it to him. That I was gonna say that I felt sad about the world, but then I said the war. Shows me how things change, and the sky is no longer blue, it's white. But the trees have not exactly found themselves, and they look like scraggly old hands. This rigid, like bony structures, like fingers. Like hands coming out of the ground that barely are alive. They've got a very solid skin though. It's almost the way that they grew to survive. And I say, but this is change, yes, but when do things start to flourish? You know? He says, what are you doing in this realm? I'm looking for wisdom. He says that he would like me to go to the next door. And so I leave. And when I walk out the door, I feel like in some places things are trying very hard to stay alive, barely alive. And in those worlds there is change, but it's hard for things to flourish in a door of chaos. And I echo to him, why do you smile in chaos? He says, I'm just a passerby, just like you. And I say, why would you be there in that realm? He says that he likes to go to places where he can just be quiet in his own mind. He says, you don't see much around this world, but you can walk these worlds and you can contemplate. I don't feel right about going back through that door. I feel right about turning my back on that door. And so I'm going to take the next door. My guides say that there's more to be said about that. It's a bit of a mystery still for us right now. Okay. Let me go to the door of love. Wisdom for August here. I'm already through it. Doesn't really have a defined structure. And I'm in a bouncy place. And it's like it's in the sky. And I'm bouncing on big, I don't know, bulbous clouds, basically. And very rounded structures. More like a ball than like kind of material that just spreads out. It's more like a structured ball that I'm just bouncing from one to the next. And it's pink in the sky and it's white in the sky. And there are bunny rabbits here. And they have really long ears. Something feels uncomfortable about this door as well. As it feels lonely here. Even with the rabbits. I feel like something's not as happy as it may seem. And I'm sitting down and I'm thinking for a while. And I'm not necessarily talking to these rabbits. There's a family, a man, a woman, and children rabbits. And some of the children are bouncing, but the others they're just sort of looking at me, silent. They asked me where I came from, and they're sort of smelling me. And I say, well, where do you think I came from? They say somewhere that is old. I show this father bunny rabbit an orb of where I just was, and the man I saw in there in the trees. It just looks a little astonished that I would go there. And he hands the orb back to me. I say it's a mystery, I suppose. I feel like there's something I'm supposed to know more about, but it doesn't feel right to go back there. I'm not sure why yet. He says, what do you think you will find here? I say, I don't know. I'm not here to define what love is or what chaos is. I'm here to just see what happens. Just curious. We're looking at August and wanting to find wisdom. And he says, what wisdom have you discovered thus far? I say, truly, I feel like I discovered a desire to explore. I discovered a desire to not be judgmental about where I go and what I see and who I talk to. To continue to follow my heart. The Father Bunny reminds me at the beginning of the Chaos Door, I was asked to be open to something I couldn't understand. I said, oh yes, that's right. He says I need to continue to move from here to the next door. So literally what he says. I say, my gosh, is August going to feel like I'm going places but gathering a real clarity? He says, oh, you're gathering clarity. It's just maybe hard to understand what the meaning of it is. So I bounce literally out of this world. And I go back to where I was light language, like hand gesturing God. And I look at the original Chaos Door, and I look at, there is no actual definable door for the love space. It just appeared there specifically. And I still carry some exhaustion, really. Just feel tired. Feel very tired. Like weary, like a weary traveler. Weary traveler without much to build upon other than the weariness is the existence. Alright. So, we're going to do this, okay? We're going to see what this Book of Doorways wants to reveal to us. It's like a deck of doorways. I'm just going to shuffle. We're going to ask the deck for some wisdom for August. We just saw a chaos door, what was inside, a love door, and now we have another door, and there's been a lot of mystery here in this August experience. Okay. Here we go. It is the Night of Pentacles, and it says, Lord of the wild and fertile land. See that business? Interesting. So that's my doorway. Maybe this is gonna sum it all up for us. Help it make sense. Alright. A Knight of Pentacles. It sounds promising, doesn't it? And I'm just gonna read the very basic language, the words of it. Interesting. Its meanings, these are the words that they use to define it, is heavy, dull, laborious, patient, and clever, methodical. It sounded promising until I was like, oh, heavy, dull, laborious, yeesh. Patient, yay, my favorite. Love being patient. Clever, okay, that's fun. Methodical, it's like boring routine. Yay. Okay, so there's our doorway. We're gonna take it, we're gonna walk through this as a door, okay, in our minds. Okay, Knight of Pentacles. So we just clear our head of everything we know, but there's the Knight of Pentacles doorway. It's actually the most vibrant, believe it or not, energetically that I've been introduced to. And it's not necessarily, it does have a frame to it. It's made out of kind of like marbleized light. And there's black and white marbleized light. And I look at my journey thus far, and I look at this, and I'm not sure why I'm hesitant. I get this feeling, the echo that comes to me is about wanting something, but not asking for it. Maybe not even knowing that you want this. How would you be able to ask for something you didn't even know that you wanted? And I'm not sure what the resistance is, but there is a pull to not go through this door. Because I don't know what it is going to ask of me. But then the echo says, why does it have to ask something of you? Why couldn't you ask something of it? Okay, maybe I could be demanding or something. Maybe I could tell it who's boss. Will it listen? Will it do as I say? I don't feel like bossing anybody around or telling anybody what to do. It's just strange. Alright, I'm gonna go through the door now. The weary traveler. There's one more door. I don't like anything about it. It's actually, it's worse than any, oh, it's horrible in here. It's basically made out of thorns everywhere. And I'm going to have to step on them even. And they're going to cut my feet. They're going to cut my body. All these thorns are going to cut me. And what I do is I take a deep breath and I say F it. And I just start running through what is like cactuses upon cactuses. And I just run. And I have nowhere to sit down. I have nowhere to really stop. And if I stop, I'm going to have to endure this pain. And the pain, it's like a door where the pain never ends. It never goes away, and you'll never have anywhere to sit down to find peace. And I hear sorrow. I see a strange man as everything becomes still, and I don't feel pain, and I don't feel cactus anymore, thorns anymore, but I see it. And I see blood, and I hear sorrow, and there's a man on a reindeer with really big antlers. And he says, "Why don't you let me help you?" And he has me sit down on the back of the reindeer with him. He says that I'm mighty brave for coming in here. And I say, "Well, why are you in here?" And I say, "Because you're mighty brave?" He says, "Not everything is as it appears to be." And he waves his hand and shows me that the scene is not quite like this anymore. It's changed. And now he shows me how the Night of Pentacles is part of this realm of love, and there's a lot of bunny rabbits, not so many bouncy clouds, but a very vast prairie. And it's a perfect place for bunnies to have families and to have a happy life. I mean, eventually all good things must come to an end. I'm just thinking, my God, there's going to be so many rabbits. They're going to have no food. There's going to have to be some predator come along. It's like the balance of everything. There are good times and then there are bad times. And the bad times kind of rebalance everything out so the good times can start all over again. But there aren't any, wolves or anything. It's just a bunch of happy bunny rabbits. Lots of different flowers and things growing here. Beautiful blue sky with white clouds. And I get off the reindeer and I just stand here and my feet don't hurt. He says, "Why don't you become a bunny rabbit?" And I say, "Okay." "Oh, I have a very large family. There's many people that I know and don't know in my family as this many bunny rabbits. And I actually can talk to the mother, father bunny rabbit. And we seem to speak the same language. We're on the same page, and they look at me differently. And they look at me with love in their eyes. And everything smells so fragrant here. But I say that there still feels like a bit of a trap. Because I just feel like I'm inside of a jar. That this is only an illusion that goes so far. And the man on the reindeer says, "Well, why would you say that?" And I show him how energetically this really isn't that large. It appears to be quite large, but it's not. And there's nothing else here. This is all that's here. It's all that's here. I find myself now in the original sort of chaos space, and the man with the checkered outfit, the mouth open. I say I want to be in a place that is real, not sort of painted the way that makes me feel comfortable. I don't have to feel comfortable for it to be good. It doesn't have to feel comfortable for it to feel good. And he says that's interesting. Because I was angry when I came in here. Because I was going to have to face something that was uncomfortable. He's going to ask me to be more than I want to be. And he says he's proud of me for saying that. Because I needed to hear that. We all need to hear that when you're comfortable, you actually could be in a much smaller jar than you think. And that when you're uncomfortable, there's so much more of a vastness to it. You have access to more. It's like somehow I feel upgraded, and I feel like I'm okay with this void now. It's not even cold anymore. I touch these sort of dead hands and I say, I wonder what they would look like if they were alive. And I take the kindness of the man on the reindeer and I put it into the palm of this one hand, which is a tree. It's like a weird tree shadow. And the tree weeps and it becomes a woman. And she said all I needed was some help. And I see that the rabbits are going to have to face change. That it can't... This kind of life is wonderful, but there must be a tide. Tide is abundance, and then it is lack, and it is abundance again. There is a winter, there is a summer. I mean, there is an inevitable sort of turning of the world, of life itself. Start to see that this conversation is melting the black off of the trees. And they're people that became frozen in time. And they've lost their voices. They can't really express more than this woman said. If all I had was a little help, seemed to be silent. This man says, thank you for healing my garden. He says he knew I could do it. He says I brought the right ingredients to make a difference. It's like sometimes you're going to have to pick a couple of different doors. You're going to have to look under a few different rocks, various kinds, like to gather some insight, some information, and watch it come together all by itself without you realizing it. God was right. I just needed to give this a chance. I say, what did the sorrow, the sadness, and the war mean? He basically says it means exactly as I said it. It's a breaking down of people. It's hard to be broken down. It's easy to want to be in a safe place like this love doorway. And to stay there for as long as you could ever stay there for. And to be aware that you need to leave sometimes to go find something of yourself in unsuspecting places. They say this beautiful world is going to attract people. You're not going to be able to just wander here. You're going to have to find some other dimension because maybe you like to be alone. Is this a Hermetic tarot? He's like a hermit. He likes to be in his own company. And I see the trees turn to people and he's not in his own company anymore. And he says that his time as a hermit is changing too. And that he's called to guide others. And that he will guide these humans. And I say, in what way? What does it mean to really guide somebody? Don't they just guide themselves? Maybe they find you. Maybe they admire your words or your support. But the answers really are in each and every one of us. Maybe you're just unlocking those answers for them. He shakes his head. He says, some want a guide. Some want someone to fill in the blanks for them. Someone to protect them and make them feel safe. He says that he can be those things for people. Because he's wise. And he lived his whole life wandering alone to discover his wisdom. And that was his job, his work, his purpose. And that one day he would be needed for that wisdom, and now the time has come. And what is this saying for all of us for August? Like, it still feels like long drawn out, not very hyper and celebrating anything. Not very colorful. I mean, it is colorful in some ways, but he says that sometimes you got to go to sleep and sometimes you got to wake up. And sometimes when you're awake, you're asleep. Sometimes when you're asleep, you're awake. It's like life is exactly as it is meant to be in that divine time. And he's also saying, it's like life will ask you, it's almost like present an opportunity, and it might be an opportunity to say something. It might be an opportunity to turn your back. It might be an opportunity to go back to the bunny rabbit jar where you're comfortable. It might be where you become frozen in time as this tree and you're waiting for somebody to just give you some help. And the help comes, but now who are you? Now what are you going to do with your newfound life? It's like, but life is going to reach its hand out to you. And so don't be afraid of how it is reaching. Don't be afraid of that. Like, it might be asking you to be bolder than you know, to open up to something you don't understand so that you can grow. So that's literally the message. Still a bit mysterious to me. I wanted it to be a lot brighter, more diversity. Alright, you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the journey with me. I hope you're all doing well. And bye for now.